Well, hello, darling. My name is Jeanine Fuller. I am originally from Brooklyn, New York. I currently call myself a Knoxvillian, so I'm now from Knoxville, Tennessee. I am involved in health information management, so I work for a private medical practice, which actually is part of a big conglomerate here in Knoxville. And that is my day job, but I have two jobs. And the second one, of course, is music, something that I've been doing for years and came back to it right about now. So that's it. I mean, music is my other job. I'm a vocalist. Try to do a lot of different types of music within my range.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so let's start by uh, what was your childhood like growing up in New York?
It was all over the place, but originally it was wonderful. My grandparents actually, in the beginning lives, had reared me in Brooklyn, and we were in the projects in Red Hook, and I have some great memories, but not a lot because they both passed away when I was by the time I was 4 or 5 years old. So then my mom, of course, started to rear me, but I had the greatest of memories when they were alive. I was also co-raised by godparents who are Puerto Rican. So I have that diversity that was so much fun. And growing up for me in the projects, I gotta say, especially the time that I was growing up and was wonderful because you had so many sights and sounds, and you've got your neighbors. You got the stories with the neighbors that have that are nosy, but everybody was a family. That's basically what it was. My grandparents' house was always the party house, always, having a bunch of fun. The other memories I've also had was I was always performing for somebody, but it wasn't like I wanted to. I didn't think anything about being a performer, but apparently it was something that was a part of me. So I would make my family and the people that would come to the house, I would make them sit down, and I had pretty much like what I do now. I've had things planned out. I had my scripts planned out. I had my shows planned out. If it was Michael Jackson or something like that, I had that all planned out, and I would do a show for them. And then furthermore, I would do encores. So they would do their class and I would have an encore.
Yeah.
But it was a great time for me. I don't have a whole lot of memories of my grandparents, and that was the only side of family as far as that I know of. I don't know my dad's side of the family. I talk about that a lot now too. But basically, it was great growing up in Brooklyn. And then my mom wound up taking care of me after that, of course. And then we went to Flushing. We went to Flushing, Queens. So I've kind of been several places growing up in New York, and then after Flushing, we wound up moving to Roosevelt, Long Island. So I have several different, that's why I said I was all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
So it was great, though. I mean, I can't complain. I think those are things that made me want to have people in my life to just kind of scoop them up and make them part of my family, because that's just kind of how it was with me and during my life. Yeah.
So really quick, before we move on, I'm going to actually have you, if you don't care to, since you kind of brought up neighbors in that first part. So yesterday on the gig, you were telling a story about meeting someone here in Knoxville who knew a neighbor.
Yes, that was so bizarre. I'm telling you, it was so bizarre. So I went to a grocery store, like any other day, but I hadn't changed over my ID yet. And so I give my ID to the cashier, who apparently had lived in Jersey City as well. And there were some people that was in Jersey City that was coming to see them, I guess, at the store. Anyway, so they said I had to show her my ID, and she goes, you're from Jersey City? I was like, yeah, I'm from Jersey City. I said, and then she looked at the address and she was like, yo, and she's telling the people on the other side that she knows, yo, she's from Jersey City. Oh my gosh. And so we started to talk, and then she looks at the address and I said, yeah, this is Arlington Avenue. She goes, yo, I know this, I know someone from Arlington Avenue. Her name is blah, blah. I'm not going to say her name like that. But it's like, her name is so-and-so. And I was like, you know so-and-so? Yeah. So she's like, yo, she knows so-and-so. And I was like, oh my gosh. I come to Knoxville, Tennessee. And this particular young lady was just not always the most pleasant, had the pleasant reputation. So apparently it's traveled all the way down to Knoxville. But what a small world when you think about stuff like that, living in Jersey City, New Jersey, and then come here. And I have several stories that just feel like it was just so coincidental when I came here. People, just the neighbors or people that people that you kind of followed or saw or met or whatever. But yeah, that was the funniest thing ever. Funny.
All right. So before we get to you moving to Knoxville, what was your performance career like when you were still in New York? Like what age did you start?
Well, the funny part was I didn't really start performing until I was a teenager. I like to say music called me then, but apparently music has always been a part of my life. I grew up in church as well. At some point in my life, probably like 7 or 8, I was always in church. Church of God in Christ, and everybody I knew sang. So for me, it was not even a big deal to try to be singing anywhere. So I didn't take it seriously until I turned about 13 or 14 years old when I lived in North Carolina, because I have a lot of travel in my life, north and south. So we moved to North Carolina, and I started entering a couple of little contests, and then I started winning them as a young person. And so then my mother, of course, at that point said, well, since you're going to win, there's another story behind that. One situation was I got punished for something at home, and my punishment was to not audition for this particular contest. Well, I went behind my mother's back and auditioned, and then I got in the contest, found out, and she found out I won. I got this trophy. So she was mad, but she was like, oh, I see you're going to do what you want to do anyway. And from that, she said, well, I want you to get some lessons. I want you to take some voice lessons. And of course, I'm like, what voice lessons? What's that? And she said, because I want you to learn how to do this right. I want you to be versatile. I want you to learn how to do this right. So at that point in my life was when I kind of started taking it seriously, or really just coincidentally started getting jobs. After winning little contests, people were asking, and I was on little television shows and stuff, and the people were like, do you hire me for weddings and hire for little events at like 14 to 15 years old. So that's kind of how it started for me, between the contests and all that kind of stuff. I would say music called me. It called me young, but it really called me at that later point in my life. Yeah. I hadn't really thought to make it a thing at all. It just wasn't. It was in my family, but not as heavily as some people's lives.